BBYO, it's good to be back. How are you? Today, I want to tell you guys a story about how my friends and I started a bucket list, and it completely changed our lives forever. Now, in order to tell that story properly, I need to bring you back. When I was just older than you, I was graduating high school. And I was graduating high school, everything was good. Life was good. I had an academic scholarship to one of the best universities in Canada. I had just made the U19 national rugby team, and this was my dream. Now, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well in school and to do well in academics. And I was thinking about the World Cup that we were training for in France. And as I was thinking about it, I played fly half. And for those of you that don't know fly half, to give you a football analogy, it's like the quarterback and the field goal kicker in one. So I was thinking about the kicks, and I started worrying about the kicks. What if I missed an easy kick on the world stage? And these thoughts would run in my head at night, and this anxiety would come at night. And this anxiety led me not to be able to sleep. And this lack of sleep slid me down into a depression. Now, this is something I've never experienced before. Right? I'm someone that has a lot of friends. I always loved going around people, but all of a sudden I couldn't go to school. My parents would drive me to school, and I wouldn't get out of the car. And I'd drive right back home. So I dropped out of school. And it got to the point where I couldn't leave the house. My parents would make me just go for a 15-minute walk every day. I was literally a shut-in in my house, and I'd go down this front steps and I'd hide in the driveway for 15 minutes. And then I'd come back and I'd tell my parents I went for a walk. So I got dropped from the rugby team. Now, this lasted for months, and it wasn't until my friends came and pulled me out of the house and we went to a new town to work for the summer that I finally started feeling back to myself. I got a job, I started feeling some self-worth. I started meeting young people from around the world that had started businesses and were inspiring. And the way back from that summer abroad, summer in another town, I started feeling a little bit better. And I made a decision. I said, I'm only going to surround myself with people that inspire me, that bring me up. And I surveyed my friends, and there was one kid that ticked that box, and his name was Johnny. I knew two things about him. He was a filmmaker, and he took my sister to prom. So I was conflicted about whether I should reach out to him. But I did. I said, Johnny, let's make a movie. And he said, I'm down. Let's get our friend Dave and Duncan. And the four of us started talking about this movie that we wanted to make, but we had no idea what the movie was going to be about. All we knew is that we had all these things that we wanted to do, but we weren't doing them. And then Johnny got assigned this poem in English class at McGill called The Buried Life. And in this poem, it articulated this feeling we were feeling that we had all these things that we wanted to do, but we weren't doing them because they were buried. And we thought, how do we unbury ourselves? And we decided to make the most epic bucket list of all time. If we could do anything, what would we do? Well, we'd go to space. We'd make a TV show. We'd write a New York Times bestseller. We'd sit with Oprah. We'd play basketball with President Obama. And we decided that we were going to go after this list, knowing that we would never really accomplish any. But we thought, let's go after it and let's help other people do the things that they want to do on their bucket list. So that was the goal, 2-week road trip, cross things off our list and help other people. We boarded an RV, we bought a camera on eBay, and we hit the road. Now, what happened was this mix of magic and luck, where people started hearing about our list, and strangers would reach out and be like, I heard about your list, I can help you. Oh, here's my biggest dream. Can you help me? Now, that 2-week road trip has lasted 10 years. And now, thank you. Thank you. And we've been able to cross things off that we were sure were impossible. Right? Things like number 53, make a TV show on MTV. I think we have a photo. And things like number 95, play basketball with President Obama at the White House. Things like number 42, sit with Oprah. That was a bad choice of suit I made. And we just got back from London where we crossed off number 81, have a beer with Prince Harry. Now, oddly enough, it's not these big list items that mean the most. We were speaking in DC at BBYO a number of years ago, and we asked everyone to share what their list was. And a kid named Lucas stood up and he said, my dad's homeless. Before I die, I want to get him a home. And we were able to fundraise and bring some enough money together where we helped Lucas get his dad a home, and we're still connected with Lucas. Because when you share a moment with someone and you help them, you bond with them immediately, and that stays with you. So it's things like that. It's things like that and this. I was flying back to LA, and the stewardess came up to me and said, "Hey, this is a note from a girl in the back." And the note said, "I dropped out of college because of depression. I've watched every episode of The Buried Life, and it's helped me get my life back on track. I just got into UCLA, which is why I'm on this plane. Thank you." Now, to this day, I don't know who wrote that note, but it means a lot to me because that's my story. And then I got another note. Then I got a few more. And then I got hundreds and thousands of emails, Facebook messages, tweets of people struggling with anxiety, depression, self-injury. Now, I don't know if you guys fully are aware, but this isn't a problem right now in the United States and around the world. This is a crisis. A crisis where every 16 minutes, someone in the US takes their own life. That's over 120 suicides a day. It's the #1 health-related killer of youth in Canada. Now, what do we do with that? How do you digest that type of statistic? Well, I'll tell you what we can do about it. We can break the stigma around mental health by having conversations. You can break the stigma around mental health by having healthy, productive conversations. And I say you because this is on you. Your parents aren't going to do it. Your grandparents aren't going to do it. You have to do it. You have to talk about it. And it's not on the 1 in 5 that struggle with mental health to break the stigma. It's on the 4 out of 5 that don't, to make the 1 in 5 feel okay to talk about. So 1 in 5 people struggle with mental illness. 800 people in this room struggle with mental illness. Put your hand up if you would help a friend if they called you when they were struggling. Put your hand up if you would be there for a friend if they are struggling. You see that, 800 people? You can talk about it. And it's good that you're raising your hand, because one day you're going to need to call them. Because the truth is, everybody struggles. This is the human condition. We have ups, we have downs. And it's just important to talk about it, especially with guys. Especially with guys. Guys take their life more often because they don't ask for help. And it's not our fault. We were raised with this backwards definition of what it means to be a man, which is to stand up, don't talk about your feelings, don't show any weakness. Now, the truth is, that's backwards. That's backwards. To be a man is to have the courage to show your vulnerability, right? That's true leadership. So, when you're building these friendships at BBYO, build them so you can call on them when you're in that time of need. And when you're building these friendships at BBYO, band together and go after your list. Because now is the time to do epic things. So take big swings. Thank you guys so much.